Hi everyone, Latitude Longitude here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Snõõper album, Worldwide. This is a brand new record from Tennessee natives, Snõõper. It is their second full-length and also their second album for Jack White's own Third Man Records, which remains to be a pretty cool nod for the band, and this bit of industry support I think is beginning to show on this new album. Now, if you remember the band's debut LP, which was great in my opinion, felt like an extended version of the very raw, noisy, fast, zany brand of synth punk that they have kind of, made their special sound in their hearts, which you can catch on a lot of their earlier EPs. It's the kind of music that sounds like alien children moshing and stage diving in a video that you're watching on the internet, played at 1.5 speed. And the track list worked in a very quick succession of musical bursts, a lot of the songs lasting from like 35 seconds to 120 seconds. Meanwhile, the closing track, Running, was this groovy 5-minute post-punk number that took up like almost a quarter of the entire album's runtime. But I think Worldwide here is kind of smoothing out some of the differences between the shorter songs and the longer songs here, and it's making a world of difference with an overall album runtime now of 28 minutes, and while still the last track on the album is the longest, it's not by much, as a great deal of the band's songs this time around span to 2 minutes at the very least, while Snõõper is still leaning into the fuzzy guitars, speedy drums, and frontwoman Blair Trammell's nasally, shouty vocals that kind of sound like they're soaked in these chorus effects that give them this almost like hot pink or construction site green color to them. And while the band's performance style hasn't really changed all that much on Worldwide, it is still very tight. The sound, the way their instrumentation is presented, it's very condensed, but I'm hearing a little bit more in the way of dynamics, like I can actually make out the bass. The drums have a bit more frequency range to them, more punch, and the mixes overall aren't quite as claustrophobic. And the song structures this time around have a bit more character and detail to them. So when Snõõper is dishing out a pretty memorable or catchy idea, it tends to stick around for a minute, like with the jagged drums and rhythm guitars on the opening track Opt Out, where Trammell can be heard singing like a manic person talking to themselves in the midst of a mental breakdown. Or the really funny storytelling on the song Company Car, where Trammell describes what she does once she has access to a vehicle provided by her job, going fast, seeing friends, going to Planet Fitness, over these pumping passages of fuzz bass and what sounds like whammy bar guitars. The title track is also a highlight, which features these undeniable grooves coming off the drums and grinding guitars too, which make for a perfect match to Blair's shouty, almost cheerleader routine. Hologram is one of a few tracks on the record that sort of feels like I'm hearing from the first-person perspective of a computer or a program, a piece of software that's malfunctioning. Obviously an interesting concept, and Star 69, like Opt Out, is a callback to telephones. And I don't know, when I account for a bunch of material on the band's last record too, I feel like this song just kind of adds to this world building the band is engaged in, consciously or not, where a lot of their songs like kind of center around tech, sports, communication tools, even games, as the song Blockhead kind of feels like the music and the imagery that would come to mind if you were trying to, play a game of Minecraft on cocaine. And as far as, like a musical reference point, I don't know, the intensity, the wackiness of the band's playing and sound on this track, it kind of reminds me of like the Dead Kennedys hardcore era with like In God We Trust Incorporated. But there's an even more interesting musical nod in the final moments of the record, because miraculously we get a cover of the Beatles' Come Together out of nowhere, which I feel like for Snõõper's sound and style isn't completely out of the norm, given that I feel like they are a part of a lineage of a long history of left field, very weird little post-punk bands that that, you know, will kind of like throw in that one odd cover in the track list and kind of do just like a very turned inside out version of a popular or well-known song, be it either Devo with their version of Can't Get No Satisfaction, or the Feelies with Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey, and the Raincoats with Lola. But yeah, now they're doing this Beatles Come Together cover over here, and it's kind of like they're speed running the song in the funniest way possible, and it's still somehow very catchy and very entertaining. The rest of the tracks on the album I found to be maybe a bit more of a mixed bag. Pom Pom, for example, is one of a few cuts on the record where, you know, though I do like the speed and intensity, the riffs just feel a little too skeletal and basic to be memorable by any means. On top of that, Trammell's vocals are like really fighting to work through the scuzz and the muck in the mix, as much as I do think her meta commentary on cheerleading with this track is funny. But the closing track I did enjoy quite a bit, as it is a kind of cerebral moment for Snõõper. Maybe not the sharp example of songwriting that Running was to a degree, but it kind of sees them dabbling in more spacey, psychedelic production, more of a jammier direction as far as the instrumentation goes too. It's not just simply a point A, point B type song like every other track here. They're kind of feeling things out, exploring the boundaries, and the track is more interesting for it. And honestly, I wouldn't mind hearing the band do this maybe just a little bit more on a future project or something like that. Because if there is one other major issue that I have with this album, it is that overall I feel like the aesthetics and the songwriting can feel a little one note, which for a record that is landing around 22, 28 minutes, that sweet spot 30-minute mark, isn't the worst thing in the world. But once you start expanding past that, you really do have to like consider presenting the audience with a wider array of sounds if they are going to stay engaged, or, you know, not feel kind of like fatigued or losing track of what's happening in the midst of a record like this that, again, is like so punky, so fast, so intense, so noisy. But, you know, that is the Snõõper sound we know and love, and they're doing it once again on Worldwide, which I think, you know, is very much in the ballpark enjoyability-wise and creativity-wise in comparison to their first record, which I also loved. Which is why I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this LP. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Snõõper, Worldwide, forever.